So welcome to my daily vlog from DevLearn 2015. It is now officially day one of DevLearn, so the conference has started in earnest and it's as crazy and busy and inspirational as it always is. So there have been some really great sessions today. I'm starting to see a few use cases emerge from XAPI, which is nice to see because there's always lots of dialogue, but that real pragmatic view on how it's being used and what it takes to undertake that type of work. It was really nice to see some case studies there because a lot of the work that we do with Willow, the customers that we're working with at the moment that are working with XAPI and the way in which we will support them in using it to best effect, it's a very specific context in which it is relevant. It's not relevant and not all customers will be ready for this at this point. And it was nice to see that reflected because there was a really realistic view in the type and nature of analysis and consultancy and deep dive it takes to really understand what type of benefit the XAPI can bring, so that it's not just an overload of data or it's implementing something for implementation's sake, that it has a very specific relationship to a core deliverable and outcome. The other session that I really enjoyed was talking about social learning, and it kind of dovetails into the session I'm doing tomorrow on communities. But what I liked was this discussion between formal learning and informal learning, and social being the social bridge between the two. So rather than this reaction to we must have everything social, everything open, or the other side of the coin where it's actually we need to be very controlled and steady and process orientated in what we do, so we're going to make everything formal. It was that realistic view of a formal learning scaffold is useful, and there will always be times in which there will need to be some formalised training within the organisation. But the social bridge helps people to contextualise it and apply it and be able to generate content back for the benefit of the wider population, to be able to uncover subject matter expertise, to see where things are working and where they're not, where your formal interventions are working where they're not, and then start to uncover that tacit knowledge, those real business stories. And it was a great session because actually it was very much focused on financial services, an area where often having informal learning and opening up discussion because of the heavy regulatory and compliance nature of those organisations is quite a challenge. But that pragmatic view between formal and informal and having the social bridge was a way to really help people become comfortable with that, and help people recognise the way in which we behave outside of work can be brought into work. The two are not, of course, mutually exclusive, but doing it in a way that helps people transition and gives people a platform to do it, but some context given by that formal learning. So I like that a lot. And one of the other things I really liked from that session was about the new skills that you're going to need in that social connected world. If we take that social bridge, if this is what we want in organisations, and of course we don't want people's behaviour in organisations to be totally detached from the way that we are living our lives outside of work. It does mean, though, that there may be some new skills in the skills agenda for people. So, for example, conversational skills was something that came up. And when you think about that in terms of people onboarding, so people joining your organisation, be able to connect with people, to network with people, understand the way things work around here, be able to ask good questions, those sorts of conversational skills, and be able to impart that to a new joiner, for example, be able to tell those stories in a meaningful, contextual way, is important. That transmission of information in a way that means something to somebody that they'll be able to apply and use and then add to the conversation is actually relevant for all of us, no matter what type of organisation we work in. So I like that as a key reflection point for a new meta skill for the organisation. The other takeaway I had from that, and this is something that I talk about a lot when we're talking about communities, of course, is that sometimes there is a reluctancy, I should say, to implement communities because organisations are worried that the wrong thing is going to be said. So are we sharing the right type of information? Are the ways in which people are explaining the way things work around here, or processes or key knowledge, are they the right stuff? And the phrase that came up in this session was that the herd will correct incorrect information. And often when organisations are reluctant to open up discussion forums, things like this, in case the wrong thing is said, in case people aren't towing the line, that actually in reality these sorts of things tend to be self-policing. People get involved, and if there's something that seems quite strange or a suspicion it's erroneous, then a conversation will start to explore that It may well be that this new insight is actually the way things work around here, so you're uncovering something that's going to be valuable to the organisation. If it's not relevant, then often people will join in that conversation and start to critique that and work with it in a meaningful way. So those are just some of the reflections that I had from day one. There's lots more I can tell you, but I've taken up a lot of your precious time already. So join me tomorrow and I will deliver some more reflections from day 2 of the conference.